Jason Statham has spent the better part of 3 decades being one of the most physically commanding and consistently watchable actors in Hollywood. He built his career on the back of genuine athletic ability, an understated charisma that translated perfectly to the screen, and a willingness to do the kind of work that most actors in his position would hand off to someone else. He did his own stunts. He trained harder than almost anyone around him. He showed up prepared and professional on every set he ever walked onto. And through all of it, he projected an image of someone who was simply built differently from ordinary people. Someone for whom the physical demands of action films were not a performance, but an expression of who he actually was. Which is why what has been happening in his life in recent years touches people in a way that goes far beyond what you might expect from a celebrity story. Jason was born in Shirebrook, a small town in Derbyshire, England, in July of 1967. His background was not glamorous. His father worked various jobs, including street trading, and the family did not have a great deal of money. But from an early age, Jason showed a natural affinity for physical activity that set him apart. He became a competitive diver and represented England at the Commonwealth Games in 1990. That level of athletic achievement requires years of disciplined training, mental focus, and a relationship with your own body that most people never develop. It shaped him in ways that would serve him throughout everything that came after. His entry into acting came through modeling and then through a connection with the filmmaker Guy Ritchie, who cast him in the 1998 film Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That performance announced something genuine. Jason was not a conventionally trained actor trying to fake toughness. He was someone who carried physical authority naturally and who had an instinct for a certain kind of dry, controlled screen presence that was immediately compelling. The film was a hit, and Jason's career began to build momentum from that point forward. The action films that followed made him a global name. The Transporter series, the Crank films, the Expendables franchise, and eventually his role in the Fast and Furious universe brought him in front of enormous audiences around the world. He became synonymous with a particular kind of cinema, the kind where real physicality mattered, where the fights looked genuine because the person performing them actually knew what he was doing. Audiences trusted what they saw from him in a way that they did not always extend to other action stars, because there was nothing artificial about his presence on screen, but behind the tough exterior and the demanding film schedule. Jason Statham has always been a more thoughtful and emotionally grounded person than his on-screen characters might suggest. He has spoken in interviews about the importance of his personal relationships, about the things that genuinely matter to him when the cameras are not rolling. And it is in that personal dimension of his life where the story becomes something that truly moves people. His relationship with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, the model and actress he began seeing in 2010, has been one of the defining features of his life away from the screen. The two of them have built something real and lasting. Together, they welcomed their first child, a son named Jack, in 2017, and their second child, a daughter, arrived in 2022. Jason has spoken about fatherhood with a warmth and vulnerability that feels completely genuine, describing the experience of becoming a parent as something that changed him in ways he had not fully anticipated. Watching someone who has built an identity around physical toughness and self-reliance openly embrace the emotional dimensions of family life is genuinely touching. The couple got engaged in 2016, and they have maintained a relationship that has weathered the pressures of two very demanding careers in a very unforgiving industry. In a world where celebrity relationships tend to burn brightly and collapse quickly, their partnership has shown a kind of quiet steadiness that speaks well of both of them. Jason has been open about how much Rosie means to him, about the ways her presence in his life has made him a fuller and more content person than he was before, as he has moved through his 50s. Jason has also been honest about the physical realities of aging in a profession that demands so much from the body. He has discussed the adjustments required to stay at the level of physical conditioning his roles demand, the longer recovery times, the greater care required in training, the accumulated cost of years of physically demanding work. These are conversations that many men of his generation are reluctant to have publicly because they touch on something that feels like vulnerability. But Jason has addressed them with the same directness he brings to everything else, acknowledging reality. Without complaint or self-pity, there have also been moments of genuine personal difficulty. He has spoken about the losses that come with getting older, about the experience of watching people he cared about face serious health challenges, about the way that life at a certain age begins to ask questions of you that youth allowed you to ignore. Those reflections reveal a man who has done real thinking about what matters and who has arrived at a place of genuine gratitude for the life he has. Built at 58, Jason Statham is not the same person he was when he first appeared on screen in the late 1990s. He is something more interesting than that. He is a man who built an extraordinary career through discipline and dedication, who found real love and built a family that clearly means the world to him, who has faced the inevitable challenges of time with honesty and grace, and who continues to show up and do the work with the same professionalism that has defined him from the beginning. That combination of toughness and tenderness, of physical achievement and emotional openness, it's what makes his story one that deserves to be told and deserves to be felt. When you see what his life has truly been, it is hard not to be moved by it.